Mr. Pai, before I bring you in, let's get the BJP to respond there to Biswajit Deb. Rajiv, Rudy. I think he mentioned employment.
Yes.
That was his principal focus of his opening remarks. Yeah.
Yes. Coming back, I do not know where in the budget he wanted to see a ray of light and hope and things like that. I'll come back to a few figures which he said, and I am sure people understand the budget in this country. Manrega, he says that we reduced it to 73,000 crores. Well, he must understand that we had provisioned 73,000 crores in the year 2021, and we spent 98,000 crores in the budget which was revised. So 73,000 crores is not a sacrosanct figure, because I can again quote, when we had budgeted ourselves for nutrient-based subsidy on the nutrient-based subsidy, it was 20,000 crores, and the government spent in the revised budget in this very year 64,000 crores. So I think they should actually read the budget on the lines of a budget, not a rhetoric. Coming back to employment, it's a fact that the COVID did have a hit on the employment. And the hospitality sector and the tourism sector, which is one of the largest employments, and there was a slump. This fact cannot be denied, because the economy was down by less than 8%. And we had to revive from that base, and that is what we are talking about. So this massive infrastructure expenditure which is happening, and the fact which I should mention here is the capital expenditure which the government has brought up. From 2020, when it was 4.4 lakh crores, this time in 2022-23, we have proposed a capital investment of 7.5 lakh crores. This is phenomenal. When we talk about employment, this is the investment which is going to create employment, reduce the logistics cost. We are talking about logistic parks, reduce the logistic cost, and all this will reduce the cost of general overall cost of the people, the purchase, the inflation, and so forth and so on. So what I want to say is that we have to appreciate that the budget is holistic. It has many aspects to it, and it's a progressive budget, mainly because it is talking about a vision for the next generation and mainly focusing on infrastructure, while carrying the old schemes which have been announced in last 3-4 years and which is going on. So I think, Arnab, that would be my opening remark.
Yes,
but unfortunately, where are they looking for this ray of hope?
Yeah,
I don't.
I take that. Just one brief 10-second rebut. Samir Kaul, welcome. He's political analyst, founder, MD of eBig City. Going to come to you in a minute. But before I go to Mohandas Pai, Mr. Deb, you mentioned privatization. In fact, there is not one mention of privatization. Where did you find a mention of privatization in the budget? The finance minister has in fact reduced privatization targets. So I don't know for this year. So
we can
I don't understand what you're referring to.
We can see how the government we can see how the government is going ahead with the privatization. We can see how Air India has been handed over. We can also see how the railway sector is also being handed over slowly. It is just the beginning. It is just the beginning.
Okay, and
I'm sure the people will lose more jobs. Unemployment. We will face more unemployment.
Well, I'm not actually understanding here, because perhaps you're looking at it in a very straight-jacketed way. But I'll get Mohandas Pai to respond. Mr. Pai.
Anna, it's very sad to see such kind of intellectual bankruptcy in looking at the budget. Air India has made 1,30,000 crores of loss. Last year, 67,000 crores of taxpayers' money was used to bail out Air India. That is 21-22. It is our hard-earned tax money. Why should we pay 67,000 crore of money to bail out an airline which the government cannot run? And we have lost 1,30,000 crore because Nehru foolishly in 1953 nationalized Air India, and Air India is not worth it. So we have given up a loss-making asset and saved the people of this country their tax money. The gentleman should be applauding the government for getting rid of Air India and not saying Air India is a national asset. It's a national liability. They sold the Neelachal steel plant for 12,000 crores, where they had a carry-forward loss of 3,500 crores. And I think it's very foolish to say government should run industries, because most of the industries, barring very few, are running in losses. You must look at the public sector undertakings run by the government of West Bengal and ask the question, why should the taxpayers of West Bengal pour money down the deep black hole?
Don't say anything about government.
And I think it's very important for us to understand this. And then you talk about jobs and all that. You must please keep quiet. Please keep quiet. I listen to you. Please keep quiet. Please keep quiet.
Oh, one second. Mr. Dev, let him complete and then I'll come back to you, Mr. Dev. After he completes, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you.
West Bengal is an instance.
Please keep
under the
quiet.
leadership of Mamata Banerjee.
Please keep quiet.
Calm down. Yeah.
Please keep quiet. I'm talking data. Then Arnab is talking about jobs. If you look at the EPF4 data, about 7 to 8 lakh jobs are being created every single month, out of which 60% of jobs in the age group of 18 to 25. These are fresh jobs that are being created all across the country. We grew at 9.2% in 21-22. GDP went up from 197 lakh crores to 232 lakh crores. 35 lakh crores is all-time record. $466 billion increase in GDP. And next year, GDP is going to go up by 28 lakh crores again. We are at $3.15 trillion. Next year, we'll reach $3.5 trillion. There is a huge amount of growth and job creation. But you know, Anna, jobs are being created in South India because that is where the educated population is. And that is where jobs are being created. Not in West Bengal, not in Bihar, not in eastern part of India, because there is a bankruptcy of policy in that particular area. So jobs are being created in South India, and people from the east are migrating to places like Bangalore for jobs. From Bengal, 1 lakh software engineers have migrated in the last 6 years to Bangalore. Bangalore has 1,75,000 Bengali software engineers. I think the question you must ask is, why are some states behind and some states going forward? What kind of policy should be done? And let me give the last piece of data, Anna. Only 30% of the total spending in India is by the central government. 70% is by the states. The future of India lies in the states and not the central government anymore, because states spend 70% of the total government spending. But to point finger center for each and everything is, a bit below the line. And I would urge you to look at data.
Biswajit Dev's turn. Yeah, Biswajit Dev, before I go to Samir.
People don't understand. Yes. People don't understand these datas. People understand cash. People understand whether they have cash in their bank accounts. People understand whether they have employments. People understand whether they have industry. People understand whether they have particular employment. People understand whether they have future. There is nothing to show in this budget.
It's a very sweeping statement. It's a very sweeping statement you're making, Mr. Dev. I want Rajiv to come in. You're making extremely strong and sweeping statements. What if I were to counter you what if I were to counter you, Mr. Dev, with a point out here?
Something has been done for the middle class. For the middle class.
Mr. Dev, if I may, why don't you admit it's a forward-looking budget? I'll give you one point out here. Target 80 lakh houses in both urban and rural areas. Under the PM Awas Yojana, outlay 48,000 crores. You may not need that money, but the poor do. I've only given you one example. One of many examples where the budget serves the people. And please don't tell me, Mr. Biswajit Dev, about the money actually reaching the home. What did previous governments do for direct cash transfers?
What did this government do since the last 7.5 years?
Rajiv Rudy.
Oh my God.
Rajiv Rudy.
Last 7.5 years, they have done nothing.
Rajiv Rudy's counter, please.
Yes.
This is a repetition of the last 7 years.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, okay, Rajiv.
He's been mentioning about things, and more of it is it's more of a rhetoric what Mr. Biswajit Dev has been saying. And he started by saying that the country is not in safe hands. I do not know whether the country is in the safe hands of the leadership in West Bengal or not. That is, we can keep on casting aspersions and not debating on the debate itself. If I have to go further, if you look how the central government has been standing by the state governments, including West Bengal, which Mr. Dev must admit, last time the money sent to the states was budgeted for 10,000 crores. The finance minister found that we require 15,000 crores in this budget year. Revised budget was 15,000 crores. This budget for 22-23, they have provisioned 1 lakh crore for the states. And this is one of the rarest budget where there has been a zero tax increase.
Yeah.
Don't you think it is very innovative? And the GST collection and the overall revenue has been going up all the way together. There are many policy level decisions which have been taken, which will have a long impact on the economy. And I very much agree with Mohandas Bhai that we need policies in place before we get investment. It's the states which are the driving force. He said about Bihar, I completely agree, because I come from a state from Bihar which has been brought down to the lowest position by the Niti Aayog because we lack policies, the thought process, and people, the boys and the youngsters and the smart boys are moving and the smart girls are moving out to Bangalore, Pune and Chennai and so forth and so on. So this is what is mattering, and Government of India, whether it is about unicorn, whether it's about IT, whether it's about logistic parks, whether it's about infrastructure, whether it's about ropeways, whether it's about all that what we are talking with in this country, Government of India is acting as a catalyst. It's acting as a facilitator to a larger framework of what economy should look like in the country. And when we're talking about $5 trillion economy, we're working on that direction.
I take a quick response from Samir Kaul. In a minute, we are going across to Ashwini Vaishnav. Samir Kaul, you've heard all sides so far. What's your take?